Welcome back to Blackstone Trail. We're going deep on the 48 laws of power, and today we're tackling a big one.
Yeah.
Law 5. So much depends on reputation guard with your life.
That's right. Reputation, it really is everything, especially in the workplace.
I mean, think about it. How many times have you seen someone super talented, but they just don't get the recognition they deserve?
All the time.
Yeah, because their reputation doesn't precede them.
It's like this invisible force that can either propel you forward or hold you back.
Okay, so we know reputation's important, but what does Robert Greene actually say about how to build one? How do we use it strategically?
Well, he gives some incredible historical examples. Like, have you ever heard of Chuko Liang?
Vaguely rings a bell.
He was this brilliant Chinese general from the War of the Three Kingdoms.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Known as the Sleeping Dragon.
Sleeping Dragon, that's an awesome nickname.
Right. I mean, that already tells you he had a certain mystique, and he really understood the power of perception.
So what did he do?
Well, picture this. Liang's troops are away. He's vulnerable, and suddenly a massive enemy force led by General Sima Yi shows up, ready to attack.
Oh boy, outnumbered, outmaneuvered.
Exactly. Most people would panic, surrender, right?
Yeah, probably wave the white flag.
But not Liang. He knew Sima Yi, knew his reputation as this brilliant strategist.
So what did he do?
He did something completely unexpected. He opened the city gates, had his men hide, and just sat on the wall playing his lute.
Playing his lute, like everything was fine.
Exactly. Totally calm, cool, and collected.
Wow. I bet that messed with Sima Yi's head.
It did. Sima Yi sees this and thinks, wait a minute, this is the sleeping dragon. He's always got something up his sleeve. Doubt started to creep in. Could this be a trap?
He couldn't just see it as an empty city.
Mm-hmm.
He had to factor in Liang's reputation.
Right. And that's the power of reputation. Even though Sima Yi had the upper hand, Liang's reputation instilled fear, doubt, and ultimately Sima Yi retreated without a single battle.
So it's not just about being good, it's about making sure people know you're good.
Exactly. It's about strategic self-presentation, building a narrative around yourself that supports your goals.
So how does this apply to us in the modern workplace? I mean, we're not exactly facing down enemy armies.
Maybe not literally, but we all face challenges and competition.
True.
Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with great ideas get overlooked?
Oh yeah, all the time.
They just haven't built a strong reputation for themselves. Their contributions get lost in the noise.
But building a reputation is kind of like building a personal brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like any brand, you need to be strategic about how you present yourself, what you emphasize, and how you manage perceptions.
So Liang's story shows how a strong reputation can actually deter attacks, make you seem more powerful than you might be.
Absolutely. It's like having this invisible shield that protects you and helps you achieve your goals.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
But are there ever downsides to this? Can focusing too much on reputation backfire?
Well, let's take a trip to 19th century America and look at the story of P.T. Barnum. He was a master of self-promotion, but he also had a bit of a reputation for, well, stretching the truth.
P.T. Barnum, the circus guy? Okay, this should be interesting. Yeah, so Barnum, he was all about self-promotion, right? But wasn't he also known for, well, maybe bending the truth a little?
That's what makes his story so fascinating.
Oh.
He knew the power of reputation, but he also knew how to manipulate it, and sometimes at the expense of others.
Okay, so how did he do that? Give me an example.
Well, early in his career, Barnum really wanted to buy the American Museum in New York City.
Right.
But he didn't have the money or the reputation that his rival, Peale's Museum, had.
So how did he pull it off?
Instead of trying to build up his own reputation, he decided to take down his competitors.
Oh, wow. So he played dirty.
You could say that. He started spreading rumors and planting seeds of doubt about Peale's financial stability.
Like fake news.
Pretty much. He even wrote letters to newspapers warning people not to buy Peale's stock.
And that worked.
It did. Peale's reputation took a hit. Their stock plummeted, and the owners of the American Museum got nervous and sold to Barnum instead.
So he won by making someone else look bad. Is that what the 48 Laws of Power is all about?
Not exactly. Robert Greene isn't giving us a set of moral guidelines. He's showing us how power works in the real world. Barnum's story just highlights that reputation is a double-edged sword.
It can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly. And it shows how vulnerable we all are to attacks on our reputation, even if we've worked hard to build a good one.
Right, so it's not enough to just build a good reputation, you also have to protect it.
Exactly. And Barnum's story doesn't end there. He and Peale became rivals, and they were constantly trying to one-up each other.
Like a 19th century rap battle?
Kind of. Peale tried to position himself as this sophisticated, highbrow entertainer focusing on science and education.
Trying to distance himself from Barnum's more, shall we say, outlandish approach.
Exactly. But Barnum saw this as an opportunity.
To attack again.
But this time he used a different weapon.
Humor. How do you fight a reputation war with jokes?
Barnum was a master of satire. He started putting on these mock mesmerism shows, making fun of how serious Peale was taking it all.
Though he was basically trolling him.
Yeah, you could say that. He turned what Peale was trying to present as sophisticated and scientific into something ridiculous and entertaining.
And of course, people loved it.
They did. Barnum's satirical shows were a huge hit, and Peale's reputation suffered.
So we've seen both sides now. Liang built his reputation on genuine skill and used it to protect himself. Barnum was more willing to manipulate and even sabotage reputations to get ahead.
And that's the thing about reputation. It's a powerful tool, but it can be used in many different ways.
So how do we apply these lessons to the modern workplace? I mean, most of us aren't running circuses or leading armies.
True, but we all have reputations to build and protect. And we all need to be aware of how reputation dynamics can play out in our careers.
So what's the first step? How do we start building a strong and positive reputation at work?
Well, the foundation of any good reputation is excellence. It really comes down to your work, your skills, your contributions. That's what people are going to remember.
Right. So it's not enough to just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk.
Exactly. Deliver high-quality work, meet your deadlines, be someone your team can rely on.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words.
And don't underestimate the power of relationships.
Oh, yeah. Networking.
Networking, getting to know people in your field, both inside and outside your organization.
So go to industry events, conferences, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Be visible, be engaged, be genuinely interested in learning from others.
It's all about building those connections and those relationships.
Because those are the people who will vouch for you, who will open doors, who will help you advance your career.
Okay, so you're saying it's not just what you know, it's also who you know.
Exactly. But when it comes to self-promotion, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah, you don't want to seem like you're bragging all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Let your work speak for itself, but don't be afraid to highlight your successes in a way that feels authentic.
So how do you do that?
Maybe you share a recent accomplishment during a team meeting or volunteer to present your work at a conference.
Okay, so find those opportunities to showcase your skills without being too pushy.
Right. And remember, reputation is a two-way street. It's not just about building up yourself, it's also about supporting others.
Oh, yeah. Being a good teammate.
Exactly. Celebrate your colleagues' successes. Offer help when you can.
Create a positive and supportive work environment.
Exactly. Because what goes around comes around. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where your reputation is being attacked, don't be afraid to defend yourself.
So don't just sit back and take it.
Right. Gather evidence, present your side of the story calmly and professionally, and don't be afraid to reach out to trusted colleagues or mentors for support.
So be proactive. Protect what you've worked so hard to build.
And at the end of the day, your reputation is about integrity. It's about aligning your actions with your values so that your image reflects the best version of yourself.
I think that's a great takeaway. Reputation is a powerful force in the workplace, and it's something we all need to be mindful of.
Absolutely. It's a long game.
Yeah.
It takes effort and intentionality, but building a strong, positive reputation can make all the difference in your career.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive into the 48 Laws of Power.
It's always a pleasure.
And for all of you listening out there, make sure you guard your reputation because as we've learned today, so much depends on it.
That's right.
And that's it for today's Flagstone Trail discussion. We appreciate your listenership.